Here we go with some DM tips for a faithful competition. This is Adventure 1 in Call of the Netherdeep. There will be spoilers abounding here, so if you're a player, please go play the adventure and then come back after and check this video out. So, Chapter 1 of Call of the Netherdeep for level 3 characters. The page references will be to the hardcover. I'll put the notes that I'm going by here in the description of the video down below. The authors of this adventure, of course, Chris Perkins and Matthew Mercer, James Hayek, Mackenzie, Latia, Cassandra, Sadie, Dan, Tamor, and many more people, I'm sure, contributed to this adventure. It is a really good adventure. Here is the pacing I would recommend for running this adventure in 4 hours. So we would start with the Festival of Merit. We'd have the character introductions, kind of an overview of the adventure, and then the first game. And then in the second hour, continue with the games. Basically, we ended up doing 3 of them. I think 3 or 4 is a good number to do. Otherwise, you start repeating the same games over again, and things get a little boring if you do that. And then on to part B, the Emerald Grotto, in hour 2 through 3, have the final contest. The grand finale begins, and then the race starts. And try and get through the encounter with the octopus or the whippers at the end of the third hour. And then hour 3 to 4, the Moonshark Lair, the Vision, and the next steps. This could also be run in 8 hours, and I have that layout and pacing for that in the notes below in the description. There's plenty of tools here for pacing this, right? There's more or less interactions with the rivals, more or less games can really change how long the first part takes. And then in the second part, expanding the length of the battles between the octopus and the quippers, or even with the shark, can expand or contract that section. I have some macros I created for the Netherdeep for underwater and ruidium, and I'll put a link to those in the description below. For music, 3 different sources of music I used here. Use the Fishing Village by Tabletop Audio for the village part of the adventure. Play that for a second here so you can hear what that sounds like. When the adventure then proceeds into the Sunken Grotto, I use Sunken Temple. And then finally, for the prayer site, I used Elven Glade, all by Tabletop Audio. So that's the music I used. Before the adventure, I like to, if I can, share character knowledge so that the players can then share that character knowledge seamlessly and in character during the adventure. And so I picked up 3 different pieces. I'll put them below, but characters with Arcana or History would have some prior knowledge of bronze dragons. Characters with history or religion would have prior knowledge of the moons of Exandria and their relationship to the goddess, and also the, I guess, superstitions about Ruidus. And then those with nature or survival would have some prior knowledge about ghost grass that the party can run into. All right, so that's kind of the overall. Here is, I like to get, for the players, like as many pictures out as I can. We got the map here of Jorhas, and then the map of Jigao. I would put the map of Jigao out with the markings of the places of interest and have a summary of the places of interest for the characters right there to go. And I even added the other locations of interest, being the temple and Helter Skelter and the Black Islands. And I did this one character at a time. I said, hey, player 1, what area do you want to go explore? But if I were to run this again, I would say, okay, for the first round of games, the first hour or 2 in the city, what do you want to go explore? Which ones of these do you want to take part in? And have the players do that have them each identify what they want to do. They can split up, they can stay together. Definitely encourage them to split up to get more breadth of their experience and more players doing things at the same time. And I also laid out where the rivals were. So for the first round of games, we'd have Irvin at the Pies, Maggie and Dermot at the Maze, and Galastriad and Io at the swimming competition. For the swimming competition, I made up a map here. This is from right here. I've got the pier, and I've got the post out here where the spear would be anchored. Of course, we have our encounter that could happen with the two sharks, and the NPCs that could take part in the encounter. And I had them all start on the dock and roll to see who got the best starting spot in the dock, and then went from there. You could alternately have them all start on land here before they head out into the water. This map is by Heroic Maps, and it is actually one of their Patreon maps that I've adjusted. I took, like, the map ended like around here or so, maybe out here. And you can tell where I duplicated stuff, and it doesn't look as seamless as their work, of course. But I was able to easily extend that out. I took this pier here from another part of the same map and copied it over to that location. I've got all the different rivals, and of course the picture of all the rivals together once everyone's been met. And then, so the party would go and do their first round of games or exploration, finish that all up. I would do another round, and then the second round, we know where all the rivals go to. We have Maggie going to the Call Up to Arms, Irvin going to the Wet Walk Spedawak, Ao going to Hurting the Horizonbacks, Galassariad to Riddles and Rhymes, and Dermot to the Temple of the Luxon. All right, and then I would say, 2 full rounds for sure, and then maybe 3, maybe 4. Extending past that, I think you're going to just get a lot of repetition, and some of the players might get bored at that point. All right, so that is the first half of the adventure taking place in the town of Chagao itself. Then the party moves on to the Emerald Grotto. Of course, I don't have the map revealed when the players first get here. I reveal areas as they go. The adventure starts with the characters and the rivals coming in through this direction here. And I'd have just like one marker for the two groups. And then I would also add, I didn't have this when I ran it, but like a turn tracker, a round tracker, so the party can see how they're doing. You could show the party with one token here and the rivals with another token here, but pretty soon the party wouldn't know exactly how far along the rivals are, so that would fall away. The encounters are good throughout this place. There's 2 paths to get there. One path has quippers, and one path has the octopus. And of course, you have the image for the octopus here. These are supposed to be trivial encounters. I would make sure, though, that at least everyone gets one chance to act, because this may be the very first combat encounter for any of the characters. So if the quippers should go down before all characters acted, I would put another set of quippers that they'd discover. And same with the octopus. So at least it lasts at least 1 full round, but not past that, because it needs to be pretty trivial, and a 1 CR 1 creature is for a party of 3rd level characters. Because what they're going to run into next is not trivial, and that's the giant shark of the last encounter. I have here left over from the game. Let's see, for the map. The counter I was using, but like I said, I'd use markers down here the next time I ran it. Okay, so the encounter with the shark. They really zeroed in on the spear in the shark's side. So I rewarded that with doing some damage when they pulled it out, because they were kind of overwhelmed when they got there. The adventure, has its race between the two parties, but plan on your party doing anything they can to slow the other party down. And the one I ran did so well that they were not going to get any help with the shark. So that made the shark very difficult. I beefed up the shark's damage a little bit, and maybe that was too much. It could have easily taken out a character if, a 50-50 chance it attacked not the barbarian. It would have taken someone out. You can see, watching the video, how that encounter went for my party. All right, then after the shark, make sure you have it thrash around as it dies. And the party comes into the vision room. Really play the luring aspects of that room up, because once they kill the shark, they might want to just run back with the medallion and you kind of lose out. So I didn't have anything to make sure they got there. Uh, but luckily my players are pretty inquisitive. So just play up the aspect of that secret room there for them to explore. All right. That is the adventure. I think it was a very fun adventure. Uh, Overall, I'm really looking forward to the rest of this campaign. I hope you have a good time running this adventure, and I will see you for the video for chapter 2. Thanks for watching.